A sword can win a battle, a leader can save a village. But what happens when the hero grows old? What remains after the applause fades? Today, Aarav will discover that the greatest legacy is not the sword he forged, it is the life he inspires. Welcome to the Sword Within Part 6, The Legacy of the Sword, a new beginning. Several years passed, the village flourished once again. The fields were greener, the river flooded peacefully. Children ran through the streets without fear. Aarav had become one of the village's most respected leaders. But every morning he still visited the blacksmith's workshop, not to make swords, but to remember where his journey began. One day, Master Dev looked at him and smiled. You no longer need me. Arav shook his head. I will always need my teacher. Master Dev gently replied, then it's time for you to become someone else's teacher. Every student evenly reaches a moment when learning is no longer enough, growth becomes complete. Only when we begin helping others grow. A new student. The next morning, a young boy named Kiran stood nervously outside the workshop. He was only 14, thin, quiet, and filled with the self doubted. He whispered, Master Arav, I want to become strong. Arav smiled. He walked into the workshop, picked up an old piece of a rough steel, and placed it into Kiran's hand. Kiran looked confused. Arav smiled. I was once given this same lesson. Knowledge becomes wisdom only when it is shared. The fire continues. Weeks passed. Kiran became impatient. Why do I keep failing? My sword is crooked. My hands hurt. I will never become good enough. Aro quietly walked to the forge. He heated the steel until it glowed. Then he handed the hammer to Kiran again. The boy sighed. Again he failed. Again and again. Finally, Kiran dropped the hammer. I can't. Ara smiled gently. I once said those exact words. Every expert was once a beginner. Every successful entrepreneur failed countless times. Every athlete started with the weak muscles. Greatness is never born overnight, it's built one difficult day at a time. The real sword. One evening, Kiran asked, Master, what is the strongest sword you have ever made? Arav looked toward the sword hanging on the workshop wall. Then he quietly shook his head. No. He pointed toward the village. The strongest thing I ever built was not made of steel. Kiran looked confused. Arav smiled. I help build trust, hope, unity, courage. Those are stronger than any blade. Kiran stood silently, thinking deeply. People may forget your words, they may forget your achievements, but they will never forget how you made from them feel. One peaceful evening, Master Dev sat beneath the old banyan tree. Arav joined him. Neither spoke for several minutes. Finally, Master Dev smiled. My work is finished. He handed Arav his old blacksmith's hammer. This built many swords, but now it belongs to the man who builds people. Arav eyes filled with the tears. Master Dev gently closed his eyes, surrounded by the sounds of birds and the evening breeze. The village had lost its blacksmith, but the world had gained his legacy. The greatest teacher never truly leave us, they continue living through every life they have touched. Your leader, years later, children gathered around the workshop not to see swords but to hear stories. Stories about courage, kindness, perseverance, humanity, and hope. Kiran, now grown into a confident young man, stood beside Aarav, a nervous little girl stepped into the workshop. I want to become strong. Kiran smiled. He picked up a rough piece of steel and placed it into her hands. Aarav quietly watched and smiled. The lesson had come full circle. The fire still burned, the hammer still echoed, but now they forged hearts, not just swords. One day, your career will end, your patience will fade, your achievements will become memories, but the kindness you shared, the courage you inspired, the people you helped will continue long after you are gone. That's your true legacy. Never ask how successful can I become. Instead, ask whose life will be better because I lived. That question has the power to change the world. If this six-part journey inspired you, I will leave a legacy. Share this series with someone who needs hope, courage, and purpose. Subscribe to Change to Progress for more inspirational stories that transform the way we think, grow, and live. Remember, every great story begins with me one choice. Choose courage, choose kindness, choose growth. The greatest sword you will ever forge is the character you leave behind in others. Thank you for watching the Sword Within Complete series. Every challenge is the fire that reveals your true strength. See you in the next journey. Thank you.